Hello and good morning. Holly Shields here for 𝐾𝐤𝐴 TV, live from Sydney. To kickstart your day, let's get it on with the top news of the day. On the COVID front, Queensland's Chief Health Officer has informed the public that the time frame for exposure to the Delta variant of the virus is seconds, not minutes. The higher risk of contraction is apparently the motivation for a push in harsher restrictions at the state's border with New South Wales. As for Victoria, the opposite is occurring. Officials are finalising plans to further ease restrictions imposed during the lockdown. The announcement is expected following a drop in local case numbers. Only 2 locally acquired COVID-19 cases have been recorded in Victoria since last Friday. And going forward, it's expected that companies will be allowed to operate with 75% of their employees in the office. And hospitality venues are set to shift to a 1 person per 4 square metre density limit and a probable cap of around 300 people. And outdoor gatherings will be limited to groups of up to 50. Meanwhile, passengers from 2 flights between Australia and New Zealand have been instructed to undergo a COVID test and isolate after a traveller tested positive in Sydney after visiting Wellington. The Qantas flight to Wellington on Friday and the Air New Zealand flight to Sydney on Monday were added to a list of virus hotspots drawn up by Australian authorities. This case forced New Zealand to suspend the quarantine-free travel to and from New South Wales for 3 days from midnight on Tuesday. Passengers are advised to get tested and self-isolate for 14 days. Regardless of the result, in other news, UN officials have rejected the Australian government's claim it was told the Great Barrier Reef would not be on the World Heritage in Danger list. There are claims that UNESCO bowed to political pressure when deciding to recommend the destination's listing. According to Australian Environment Minister Susan Levy, the UN body has told the government a week ago that it would not be proceeding with the Great Barrier Reef. She accused the organisation of a complete subversion of normal process and said that the government would fight the recommendation, which is due to go before the World Heritage Committee next month. She has stated this decision was flawed and clearly there was politics behind it. For the committee to not foreshadow this listing is appalling. The accusation was rejected by Dr. Fanny Duvey, the UNESCO's World Heritage Centre in Paris, who said the UNESCO had not provided any assurances to Australia before the decision was announced early on Tuesday. And in the news from beyond the Earth, liftoff is scheduled for European Union's new space program. After being officially launched, the new program is set to cover the period to 2027 and will see the bloc's 27 member states expand investments in satellite navigation, Earth observation, space situational awareness, and secure communications. A newly established body known as the EU Agency for the Space Programme, or EUSPA, will have oversight of all of the EU's moves in orbit. Another key change from this is the nature of the bloc's relationship with the European Space Agency, or ESA. Highlights include the EU's development of a space broadband network and their order of next-gen Galileo satellites. The new Sentinels will be essentially checking the pulse of Earth. The legal basis of this partnership between the two bodies has now been put on a formal footing in the guise of a financial framework partnership, or FFPA. And in some darker news from the tech world, a man whose name is synonymous with computer antiviral software, John McAfee, has been found dead in a Spanish prison cell hours after a Spanish court agreed to extradite him to the US to face tax evasion charges. The Catalan Justice Department said in a statement that everything indicates McAfee took his own life. His company released the first commercial antivirus software, McAfee Virus Scan, that was eventually sold to technology giant Intel for more than $10 billion. The US Justice Department alleged that McAfee evaded tax liability by having his income paid into bank accounts and cryptocurrency exchange accounts in the names of nominees. And onto the world of NFTs. The creator of the World Wide Web has defended his decision to auction the web's source code. To the many people's surprise, the decision to create and sell a representation of the famous World Wide Web was announced last week. Tim Berners-Lee's auction of the digital asset is set to begin on Wednesday and to run for a week. A bunch of coveted items are up for grabs, including the 10,000 lines of source code to the original web browser, a digital poster representing the code, a letter from the creator, and an animated video showing the code being entered. Not everyone is happy about the decision though, as NFTs have come under a bit of flack, with many questioning their value. In the face of these critics, however, Berners-Lee believes the sale of the NFT is totally aligned with the values of the web. He even compared the sale to an autograph book or a speaking tour. This auction comes after many a successful NFT buys, including the globally known Doge meme, which sold for an eye-watering $5 million. You heard it right, folks. A picture of a smirking dog reached millions, which could be enough for any NFT skeptic to second-guess their stance. The World Wide Web's auctioneer Sotheby's has not released a sales estimate, as they argue the token has a unique appeal and is unlike anything ever sold before. That being said, bidding on the NFT is set to open at $1,000. And that is just about all for now, but stay tuned and we'll be back with more live market updates. Holly Shields signing off.